Homeschooling in the U.S. by Alyssa Doubleday, Jonas Cooper, Derek Chancellor, Morgan Kleinberg, and Mallory Fisher. This pechakucha PowerPoint presentation covers different topics of homeschooling in the United States, such as how has homeschooling changed in the U.S. over time, who regulates homeschooling, what are reasons parents may choose homeschooling, and why might parents choose not to homeschool. Regular schooling started as homeschooling back when children learned from their parents the necessities of living a full and rich life. Some of the things taught to these early homeschoolers included sewing, reading and writing, and probably farm work unless the families were already well on their feet. Most people did not learn how to read back then, and mostly rich families taught their sons and daughters how to read. In the 1870s, the government decided to take over schooling. Instead of small one-classroom schools or children just being taught by their parents, the government decided that small religious-run institutions needed to be controlled and that the parents should not teach their children. It should be up to a teacher who gets paid to teach. Homeschooling was even illegal in 30 different states at the time. Since 1993, homeschooling has been legal in all 50 states. Homeschoolers used to be looked down upon, and homeschooled students were stereotyped into less than great categories. Today, homeschoolers are given great opportunities to teach their own children, and the government gets to keep their schooling methods as well. All's well as ends well, I suppose. Homeschooling is completely legal in the United States. However, there are a number of strict laws that regulate and maintain homeschooling as a valid form of education. Most of the laws that regulate homeschooling are at the state level. That is, state governments have the power to enforce their own laws regarding homeschooling as they see best fit for their state. Every state has a form of compulsory attendance law that requires children to spend a specific amount of time being educated. The most common way for parents to meet these requirements is to have their children attend public school. However, since 1925, the Supreme Court has held that there can be no presumption on the part of the state that this attendance requirement must be met through public schooling. Every state regulates homeschooling differently. Some states may require as little as lesson plans being approved in advance by the local school board. Other states are much stricter when it comes to homeschool laws. In California, homeschoolers must either be a part of a public homeschooling program through independent study or a charter school, use a credentialed tutor, or enroll their children in a qualified private school. States also differ in their requirements regarding testing and assessment. In some states, homeschoolers are required either to have their children take specified standardized tests or to have narrative evaluation done by qualified teachers. Other states require no particular assessment. Again, using California as an example, students enrolled in a public program are encouraged to take the same year-end standardized test that all public school students take. Public school is not for everyone. Parents feel their children can learn bad habits while enrolled in the public school system. Everything from drug dealing, promiscuity, profanity, racism, and countless other morally questionable practices can be influenced in public schools. Some parents want their children growing up with certain influences and beliefs and choose to keep their children at home to keep them away from bad influences. For those parents that live in rural areas or areas that are frequented with bad weather, homeschool can be a much safer alternative to public schools. We all know the big yellow buses that carry dozens of children to school each day either do not have safety belts or the kids are not required to use them. So if there's a bad storm or the roads are not as safe as they could be, by homeschooling your children, you do not have to worry about them out in the elements and whether or not they will arrive at school safe. With obesity and heart disease a growing problem in the United States, homeschooling your children gives the parent total control over what their child can eat. A study done in Texas shows that 38.7% of 4th grade students, 37.1% of 8th grade students, and 29.4% of 11th grade students were overweight. By homeschooling, you can educate and feed your child a healthy and balanced meal. With homeschooling, your child gets the one-on-one attention they need. No more packed classrooms full of noisy students not interested in learning. You can tailor your students' needs to their interests and hone their skills to what they excel at. You can hire private tutors to come into your home and teach your child the skills she needs to excel in one or more courses. If your child wants to be a writer one day, she can take all the advanced writing courses she wants. Parents have a lot of say in the decision-making of their child. A lot of kids decide that they want to be homeschooled, but parents choose just as much, if not more, often than the children do. Why? What are the reasons that a parent would want their children homeschooled? According to Chelsea Schilling at WorldNet Daily, there are 3 very popular reasons why. Religion and moral instruction are the most important factors when parents are choosing homeschooling for their children. 36% of kids being homeschooled are where they are because of religion. Parents do not want to expose their child to other ideas that they do not believe in. They also want to teach and show the importance of their own religion, which could not be done in public school. After religion comes the second most important reason: a bad school environment. 21% of parents homeschool their children because they feel the school environment is not up to their standards. That could be anything from bullying to something smaller, like what they serve for school lunches. The third most common reason parents choose homeschooling is the academic instruction at some schools. 17% of parents do not like the teachers or resources that are offered by the surrounding schools. There are many reasons parents make a decision to homeschool, but now you know the three most common reasons parents think about when making a choice like that. While homeschooling may work for some families, it has some disadvantages that every parent should take into consideration. According to an article in Education News, when a group of professionals were interviewed, each of them claimed that it is easy to identify those individuals who have been in a homeschool environment. Of those disadvantages, the most significant is the amount of sacrifice it takes physically, emotionally, and financially. A lot of time is needed to prepare and teach lessons. Also, the amount of money it costs to homeschool is very great. It is approximately $400 per year a child to pay for the curriculum needed, the supplies and materials for projects, books, and even computer software. The parents do not only have to sacrifice a large portion of their time and money, but many are not equipped to be homeschool instructors and lack formal training. Teachers at a public or private school have degrees in the subject or grade they are teaching, but parents at home may not know how to teach the content, which then limits the child's learning. The biggest disadvantage of homeschooling for the children is the development of social skills. By being in a homeschool environment, children miss out on the opportunity to build relationships with their classmates and gain friends. Also, when children lack a development in their social skills, it can hamper interpersonal and communication skills.